Now imagine for a moment that every cell in your body is not just a passive fragment of flesh, but a living, responsive entity, listening, waiting for your commands. What if I told you that success is not merely a mental aspiration, but a biological phenomenon, that your very cells can be programmed to obey the vision you hold in your mind? For centuries, philosophers and scientists have sought the secret to shaping destiny. Joseph Murphy uncovered a profound truth. The subconscious mind is the bridge between thought and matter. In these pages, we take his revolutionary insights one step further, showing you how your thoughts and beliefs influence the intelligence of your cells. This text is not just a collection of words, it is a call to awaken the power sleeping in your own body. With each chapter, you'll discover how to align your mind and your cellular energy so that every heartbeat, every breath, every spark of life within you moves in harmony toward the success you desire. You are about to enter a realm where science meets spirituality, where biology becomes a partner in your destiny. The question is not whether your cells will respond. They already are. The question is, what instructions have you been giving them? Prepare yourself, open your mind, because from this moment on, you are no longer a passive observer of your life. You are the programmer, and your cells are ready to obey. Inside you lies an invisible kingdom. You cannot see it, yet it acts without ceasing. You do not name it, yet it sustains your life. It is a world of miniature intelligence, your cells. Each one of them, though microscopic to the human eye, possesses an organized form of consciousness. They are not random biological fragments, nor automatons ruled by blind chemistry. They are units of mental obedience, living particles that respond to a higher pattern, the dominant image of your thought. The cell does not decide on its own, it executes, and what it executes is the emotional and visual content you hold repeatedly. That is why the Master said, "The kingdom of God is within you." Luke 5:21. He was not referring to a mystical place, but to an inner structure where the power of transformation dwells. Your entire body is fertile ground, and your thoughts are seeds. What you persistently think, you plant. What you plant, you cultivate, and what you cultivate, you harvest as physical experience. This book is born from that truth. It is not a collection of inspiring ideas, nor merely a philosophical treatise. It is a formula of precise application, a spiritual, mental, and physiological recipe you must apply with the discipline of one who follows a treatment. It is not enough to read it. You must live it, embody it, repeat it until your body becomes evidence of the new pattern. Here you will learn that every organ has memory, every tissue receives mental orders, every cell can be rewritten, just as a mathematical formula can be rewritten. This is what we call cellular reprogramming, the art and science of installing in the body ideas of success, health, abundance, joy, and expansion through the sustained power of directed thought. I will present real cases, understandable parables, and activating affirmations. I will guide you as a physician would, not imposing but instructing. Each chapter will be a dose, each exercise an active principle. And if you follow the complete treatment day by day without skipping, without shortcuts, your cells will become particles of gold, obedient, luminous, victorious. You are about to remember the oldest and the newest secret. Success is not sought outside. It is cultivated within, in the cell, in the mind, in you. Cells of Success, the scientific program of mental reprogramming, inspired by the teachings of Joseph Murphy. We have noticed that more than 80% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and giving a like to the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. The Mental Principle of the Cell. Every visible manifestation in the human body begins as an invisible idea in the mind. This includes not only your habits, your character, or your social behavior, but also the intimate structure of your body, your organs, your tissues, and what few people know, your cells. This truth, revealed by spiritual science and confirmed by modern researchers, is the key to a new life. For if every cell responds to the mind, then every cell can be re-educated, corrected, exalted. Your body is not a cluster of inert tissues. It is a field of organized intelligence that obeys a directing center, your subconscious mind. Every cell is a unit of consciousness. It possesses memory, direction, energy, obedience, and responsiveness. This affirmation, which may seem bold to those who have not studied the laws of the mind, has been proven by thousands of people who transformed their health, appearance, and destiny by re-educating their cells through sustained thought and persistent mental imagery. What you think with constancy, what you vividly imagine, what you affirm with conviction, these become imprinted in the invisible matrix of your subconscious and manifest in your cellular structure as health, vigor, beauty, or as fatigue, disorder, and disease according to the quality of your ideas. The subconscious does not reason, it obeys. It is like fertile soil that does not question the seed, but receives it and multiplies it. Cells, being the operative instrument of the subconscious, act the same way. They do not judge the command, they execute it. If you repeat insistently that you are weak, clumsy, incapable, that idea slides gently into the deep reservoir of your mind, and your cells begin to weaken, to slow down, to reflect that inner image. But if instead you plant the idea of strength, intelligence, and success, your cells accept it as a mandate. Why? Because every thought is energy, and that energy produces vibrations that impact the cellular plane with electromagnetic precision. These mental vibrations are transmitted, like an inaudible chant, to every cell of your body. The result is reprogramming. Just as a farmer changes his harvest by changing the seed, you can change your body and your destiny by changing the seed of thought you repeat daily. You are not limited by your biological inheritance. You are not enslaved by your genetics. The DNA that scientists consider the code of life is not an unchangeable sentence. It is a plastic structure, moldable by conscious thought and spiritual decree. Your DNA responds to your words. Every gene, every strand, every codon is a scribe taking dictation from your mind. What are you dictating today? Are you writing disease or health, of failure or fulfillment, fear or confidence? Remember, your word is law for your mind, and your mind is the architect of your cells. I have seen cases where the mind reformed the body so radically that doctors found no physical explanation. One young man, diagnosed with muscular degeneration, was instructed in this truth: your body is your servant, and it responds to the thought of its master. He was taught to visualize daily his strong muscles, his firm legs, his straight spine. Every morning and every night he affirmed, "Every cell in my body obeys the law of divine strength. I am vigorous, I am healthy, I am energy in action." After 6 months, clinical tests showed progressive improvement. After 1 year, he walked unaided. After 2 years, he was running. Was it a miracle? It was law. It was the exact fulfillment of cellular re-education through sustained mental imagery. The Bible says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Proverbs 23:7. That word heart does not refer to the physical organ, but to the deep mind, the creative consciousness. If you think health, you are health. If you think success, you are success. But it is not enough to think occasionally. Thought must be repeated, nourished, installed with perseverance, like a seed that is cultivated until it sprouts. Every cell seeks to obey an order. If you do not give the order, it receives it from the environment, from others' words, from disordered emotions. You must be the director of your biological orchestra. Just as a gardener pulls out weeds and plants only what he desires, so must you uproot destructive thoughts and plant those that build your destiny. Imagine for a moment your cells as obedient workers in a great factory. Each one takes the order received from the control room. If there is disorder, fear, or confusion there, the workers do not know what to build. But if the mental center sends a clear image of triumph, health, and energy, then each cell works with purpose, precision, and joy. This is not poetry, it is spiritual law. It is applied mental science. Do you want a new body, a new life? Then plant a new idea. Do not fight your symptoms. Do not criticize your past. Simply begin today to teach your cells what you want them to learn. Use your word as a scalpel. Use your imagination as a brush. Use your faith as an electric current. And you will see how each cell, one by one, begins to reorganize itself under the command of your new consciousness. The cell is not inert matter. It is condensed mind. It is obedient energy, organized vibration, miniature intelligence. You are the architect, you are the programmer, you are the director. The subconscious mind does not make judgments, it makes realities. Begin today. Affirm, every cell in my body obeys the perfect law of God within me. I am made of health, energy, intelligence, and divine order. My whole body is a symphony of success. Repeat this upon waking and before sleeping. Your subconscious will hear it, your cells will obey it, and you will live the result. In the next chapter, I will show you how to insert these commands consciously, effectively, and permanently so that every cell receives a new programming. For what you repeat with faith, your body believes, and what your body believes, it manifests. Chapter 2. Conscious Cellular Reprogramming. Your mind is a laboratory, and your body is the field of application. Every word you speak, every image you hold, every emotion you cultivate is a direct order to the cellular system. They are not abstract ideas. They are active formulas that penetrate into the very marrow of your being. There they operate like living seeds, charged with shaping energy. That is why when you consciously decide to introduce a new programming, your whole structure responds, not with indefinite delay, but with a measurable, observable, consistent reaction. The cell is obedient. It has no will of its own. It responds to the stimulus it receives, and the most powerful stimulus that exists is clear, sustained, emotionally charged thought. The cell does not only hear what you say, it feels what you believe, and in that act of feeling it accepts the order as truth. That acceptance generates movement. Movement generates change, and change manifests as a new condition. This is how reprogramming occurs, not by chance, not by physical effort, not by external strategies, but by the act of introducing into your subconscious mind an inner image so vivid that the cells adopt it as their new pattern. But this process does not happen by mere reading. It is not enough to understand it intellectually. It is necessary to execute the technique with precision, perseverance, and faith. Here I will show you how to do it. The power of the spoken word. Conscious cellular reprogramming begins with the word. The spoken word has vibration. That vibration generates an electromagnetic signal that directly affects the nervous system, the glandular system, and the cellular field. But this is not about repeating empty phrases. The affirmation must be precise, positive, emotionally alive, and repeated with rhythm. Not as someone forcing themselves to believe, but as someone declaring a law already in operation. For example, do not say, "I hope I get well," for you are sowing doubt. Say instead, "My cells respond promptly to the law of good. I'm in the process of perfect restoration." Such an affirmation, spoken in a state of relaxation, with closed eyes and accompanied by a clear image, engraves itself deeply into the subconscious mind and begins its immediate work. The instrument of mental imagery. The sustained mental image is the second instrument. It is not enough to say, "You must also see." You must form a mental picture so clear, so vivid of the desired result, that the mind accepts it as present reality. This is what many ignore. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you see your body strong, your skin radiant, your face joyful, your spine upright, your voice firm, and you repeat that image with constancy, your subconscious records it as a legitimate order. And your cells, obedient as bees in their hive, begin to act to make that image real. The emotion of the work. The third ingredient is emotion. An affirmation without emotion is a seed without water. A mental image without enthusiasm is a shadow that does not germinate. That is why you must feel what you affirm, not with tension, but with certainty, like one harvesting a crop planted with patience. Do not excite yourself with anxiety for results. Rejoice instead with gratitude, knowing the law is already at work. That attitude, more than any effort, is the true key to success. A living testimony. I will tell you the case of a 57-year-old woman who, after suffering a chronic skin disease, began to apply this technique. Every night before sleeping, she visualized her skin smooth, clean, radiant. She repeated for 10 minutes, "My skin is a reflection of the harmony of God in me. Every cell cooperates in my perfect restoration." At first she saw no results, but she persisted. She did not interrupt the practice for 90 days. By the third month, her skin was completely restored. The doctor was astonished. She did not realize that her cells had already accepted the image as a new pattern. This is no exception. It is law. Whoever applies it with faith, constancy, and order will obtain equivalent results. The law of obedience. The cell longs to obey the law of good. It does not want to degenerate. It does not desire disease. It was created for health, for life, for full development. When you introduce an image of health, the cell celebrates. When you introduce an affirmation of success, the cell cooperates. When you introduce an emotion of peace, The cell vibrates in harmony. You do not need to force anything, you need to direct. Passive suggestion versus conscious affirmation. Many confuse passive suggestion with conscious affirmation. Passive suggestion occurs when you receive ideas without filtering them, such as repeating what others say. This disease is chronic. At this age, nothing changes. I have a slow metabolism. These ideas, once unquestioned, install themselves in the subconscious as commands, and the cells obey them. Conscious affirmation, on the other hand, is an act of will, directed with purpose, with exact language, with rhythm and repetition. That is why you must watch your words. Every complaint is a command. Every lament is an instruction. Every expression of doubt is a contrary seed. Make the effort to silence the negative and to speak only what you want your cells to execute. Affirmations such as, "My body cooperates with my well-being, my habits reflect my success, I'm in harmony with my ideal of life." These are balms that infiltrate every cell and re-educate them. The seed and the soil. The Master expressed it with clarity. The sower went out to sow. Matthew 13:3. That parable is an exact formula for how an image is introduced into the subconscious. Some seed falls by the wayside, meaning in a distracted mind, and does not germinate. Another falls on rocky soil, a doubting mind, and withers away. But another falls on good ground, the trained mind, and yields fruit 100-fold. So it is with your affirmation. If you repeat it with attention, emotion, and constancy, it falls into fertile soil and bears fruit. A daily practice. Make this a daily exercise. Every morning and every night, take 5 minutes to affirm aloud, calmly and with conviction, what you desire your cells to learn. Then close your eyes and visualize the result with clarity. Add the emotion of gratitude and release the process, trusting that it is already done. Do this for 90 days. Record your changes. Do not expect instant miracles. Expect results proportional to your discipline. Just as a seed does not blossom in an hour but does in a season, so too the cell responds in its biological time. Your part is to sow without ceasing. The law will do the rest. The living seed. Remember, your cell accepts an affirmation as a living seed. You do not have to force growth, you only have to sow well. Direct your word, sustain your image, feel your achievement. And soon your body, your habits, your relationships, and your environment will begin to reflect the new programming. In the next chapter, you will discover how to install in every cell a lasting mindset of success, not as a fleeting wish, but as a permanent state of being. For you were not designed to struggle, you were designed to triumph by law. Chapter 3. The Cellular Mindset of Success. Success is not a stroke of luck. It is not a goal reached or a fortuitous reward. It is a state of consciousness. Even more, it is a vibratory frequency that, once installed in the mind and descended into the body, becomes an electromagnetic field. This field, like all energy, extends, expands, and intensifies. It does not remain confined to your thought. It manifests in your posture, your tone of voice, your breathing, your skin, your movements, your environment. And most importantly, it becomes imprinted in every cell of your body as a vital programming. You do not have success. You are success when your cells have been trained to vibrate at that frequency. And just as failure is also a mental frequency, it can be replaced, neutralized, transmuted. This is a radical truth that every sincere seeker must accept if they desire true transformation. For as long as you believe that success is an external event, your power will remain intermittent. But when you discover that every cell can become a magnet of achievement, and that you can consciously induce this transformation, your destiny changes at its root. Failure as a cellular program. Every failure is a cellular program, hereditary or acquired. It is installed through repeated thoughts, chronic emotions, destructive words, and environments poisoned by doubt, fear, or shame. This frequency of defeat is transmitted from cell to cell by electrical, neurochemical, and emotional signals. That is why a person who has failed repeatedly does not need more effort. They need a new identity. And identity does not change by willpower. It changes by subconscious reprogramming, by sowing again and again a higher truth until that truth becomes the only vibration accepted by the cells. The cell is not interested in your past story. It does not care how many times you have failed, nor how many opportunities you have lost. It is designed to cooperate with life. Its impulse is expansion, order, excellence. If you give it new mental instructions, it will adopt them with joy. If you sustain those instructions long enough, it will abandon the old frequency of defeat and vibrate in the frequency of success. A living testimony. I have observed this in executives, athletes, homemakers, entrepreneurs. I have accompanied cases in which a history of personal and financial failure was completely reversed, not by external circumstances, but by the methodical reprogramming of cellular identity. One of them, a bankrupt merchant of 48 years, came to me saying, "I am beyond remedy. Everything I touch falls apart." I explained, "What falls is not what you touch, it is what you think." I taught him the technique of success injection. Every morning upon waking, he had to place both hands over his chest and declare firmly, "Every cell in my body vibrates with success. My identity is triumph. I am a channel of good and achievement." Then for 3 minutes he had to visualize a golden field expanding from his chest throughout his body, illuminating organs, tissues, and cells. Finally, he had to walk for 5 minutes, repeating inwardly, "Success follows me, reaches me, inhabits me." That routine, practiced without fail for 90 days, produced a total turnaround. First, his way of speaking changed. Then his posture changed. Soon he began receiving proposals. He started a business that prospered. In 6 months, his debts were paid. In 1 year, he was giving lectures on the success mindset. What happened? His cellular electromagnetic field changed. The cells of his body, once vibrating in guilt, fear, and defeat, were now tuned to order, expansion, creativity. That change was not magical. It was scientific. It was the law of mind in operation. The formula of irreversible change. This technique of success injection can be applied by anyone, but it must be done with rigor. Cells do not change through occasional declarations. They change through deep impression. That impression is produced by 3 elements: firm word, sustained image, felt emotion. When these 3 combine and are repeated with perseverance, change becomes irreversible. The golden network of success. Now imagine your cells as tiny suns, each one with its own light. In a person trapped in defeat, those lights are extinguished, or they flicker faintly. But when you begin to consciously visualize your cells as radiant spheres of golden energy, shining, expanding, connecting with one another, creating a network of success within you, then your entire body becomes a circuit of triumphant energy. Practice this exercise each night before sleeping. Visualize your body from head to toe as a constellation of millions of cells lit up, vibrating in the frequency of achievement. See how they connect, how they cooperate, how they celebrate your future success as an accomplished fact. If you do this for 21 consecutive days, you will begin to feel an inner transformation that words cannot fully describe. It is a certainty that grows, a confidence that installs itself, a presence that accompanies you. The law of assumption. The Bible expresses it in another key. Every place where you set your foot will be yours. Deuteronomy 11:24. This is not a territorial promise, it is a mental law. Whatever you assume as yours with full conviction in mind and body becomes your vibratory field. If you assume success as identity, your cells will manifest it. Self-sabotage is not a curse, it is a learned frequency, and every frequency can be replaced by a higher one. If you have lived fighting against yourself, postponing, fearing, abandoning before starting, it is because your cells are obeying an old image, imposed perhaps by past experiences or by others' voices. But you can install a new image, a powerful image, a true image. A new declaration. Begin today. Declare firmly, "My cells are aligned with success. My body is a perfect instrument of achievement. Everything in me cooperates with the fulfillment of my ideal." Repeat this 3 times a day. Do it with faith. Do it as one waters an invisible garden. Do it until you feel there is no return, until success is no longer something you seek, but something you emanate. For when success ceases to be a desire and becomes your habitual frequency, then everything you touch prospers, not by chance, but by law. In the next chapter, we will study self-sabotage as a specific cellular pattern that can be identified, uninstalled, and replaced. And you will see how even the most deeply rooted habits can surrender before a higher truth, sustained with love and awareness. Chapter 4. Self-sabotage, the poison that can be healed. Many sincere men and women endowed with talent, skills, and opportunities fail again and again, not because of a lack of capacity, but because of a hidden force operating against them from the deepest regions of their own mind. This force, known as self-sabotage, is not a curse nor a moral weakness. It is, in truth, a mental program embedded in the cellular subconscious, a series of thought patterns imprinted from early ages that act as silent orders of failure, procrastination, self-limitation, or guilt. Self-sabotage does not arise from conscious will. No human being in their right mind consciously wishes to fail, to destroy their relationship, to sabotage their finances, or to damage their health. And yet millions do so systematically. Why? Because they carry within their cells an invisible mandate, one that was activated when they were children, when their minds were completely receptive and lacked the ability to filter or resist external ideas. The imprint stage. In those formative years, what psychology calls the imprint stage, every authoritative word, every look of disapproval, every unjust punishment, every comment about money, the body, personal worth, or love, was recorded directly in the subconscious deposit, and there those ideas remained. And like every idea in the subconscious, they seek manifestation, using the most direct means, biology, behavior, and the key decisions of adult life. Thus, self-sabotage is born not as a choice but as obedience. The cell obeys the program. If the child repeatedly heard phrases such as, "You're no good at that," "Money doesn't grow on trees," "All men are the same," "Life is hard," "Nothing ever works out for you," then those phrases became living orders that the subconscious executes, even when the conscious mind says otherwise. Here lies the central point of this chapter. Self-sabotage is not a personal flaw but a mental virus, one that can be detected, uninstalled, and replaced. A case of hidden programming. A man once came to me after losing 3 successful businesses. He told me, "Every time I start making money, something happens and I lose it all." I asked him to return mentally to his childhood. He remembered his mother, whenever she saw someone prosperous, would say, "They must be into something dirty." That phrase, repeated with emotional tone, was engraved into him. And though he longed to succeed, his subconscious was protecting him from becoming dirty, blocking his success each time he approached it. This kind of negative association must be unmasked and deactivated. The prayer of subconscious uninstallation. For this, I use the prayer of subconscious uninstallation, which must be recited for 21 consecutive days in a state of deep relaxation. I now recognize that every pattern of defeat, every program of failure, every idea foreign to my good no longer has power over me. I renounce all negative programming I inherited. I cancel every phrase planted by fear, guilt, or ignorance. In its place, I accept the divine truth that I deserve to succeed, that success is my natural state, and that every cell in my body cooperates with my fulfillment. I'm at peace with my past. I'm open to a new pattern. I am success in action, and I am worthy of all good. When this prayer is repeated with feeling, an inner channel opens through which new programming flows. But prayer must be accompanied by conscious action, choosing new words, rejecting the language of the victim, and practicing the visualization of the new self. The cell as a screen. Imagine that every cell in your body is a screen projecting a movie. If you constantly repeat scenes of failure, doubt, and fear, that is what is recorded. But if you consciously choose to project images of success, confidence, and achievement, those images become construction plans. Your subconscious, without judging, reproduces them. A woman's transformation. A woman who constantly sabotaged her relationships discovered that every time she felt happy with someone, she fell into self-destructive behaviors. In a guided regression, she remembered her mother's words, "Men use you and then leave you." That phrase, accepted without filter, became a command. By working daily with affirmations such as, "I am worthy of lasting love," "I attract healthy relationships," "I relate with confidence and joy," and by visualizing herself in harmony, she was able to change her relational pattern. The law of constancy. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what was said 30 years ago and what you repeat today. That is why you have the power to replace any programming, no matter how old. But the law demands constancy. Just as an infection requires antibiotics for a specific number of days, A cellular pattern requires new instruction over a complete cycle. 21 days to begin uninstalling. 90 days to reinstall fully. Here is a method you can use. Detect your negative phrases. Declare their conscious cancellation with a written affirmation. Replace the phrase with a clear, emotionally resonant positive affirmation. Visualize your new self acting with success, confidence, and worthiness. Repeat this practice daily for 90 days. Dissolving sabotage with light. Remember, self-sabotage is not a demon outside of you. It is a mental residue still vibrating in your cells. But you are the therapist. You are the programmer. You are the healer. Do not fight the pattern, replace it. Just as darkness is not fought but dissolved with light, so sabotage is dissolved with truth. The next time you feel you are about to abandon what you love, about to ruin what you have built, about to repeat what you swore never to repeat, pause and affirm, I'm reprogramming my cells for success. The past no longer rules me and I am free. Do it firmly and do it with faith. Do it until your cells accept it, and they will. In the next chapter, we will explore how to transform this mental discipline into a healing force. For it is not enough to cancel the negative. It is necessary to install the superior with such strength that no old voice can ever rise again. And that you can achieve. Chapter 5. Mental Discipline, the Inner Physician. There is no healing without constancy. There is no transformation without repetition. And there is no lasting victory without continuous mental training. This is an immutable law of the inner universe. Just as a plant requires daily watering to grow, an idea must be sustained, affirmed, and repeated to take root in the subconscious and become a permanent cellular pattern. Mental discipline is not an external imposition nor a forced practice. It is the deliberate action of aligning your mind with divine order until that order becomes your natural state. Everything that remains in your life, whether virtue or limitation, has been maintained through repetition. Fear does not appear by chance. It settles because it was nourished. Faith does not suddenly arise. It is built by insistence. That is why I tell you, what you repeat becomes structure. What you sustain with discipline transforms into body. What you install with conviction manifests as visible reality. This is the law. The cost of interruption. But what happens to those who begin affirmations, visualizations, or scientific prayer and then abandon them after a few days? Why do they fail to obtain results? Because they interrupt the treatment, because they abandon the patient. And the patient, dear reader, is your subconscious, your body, your cellular system. If a doctor prescribes a 90-day treatment and you take it for only 5 days, it is not the medicine that failed. It is you who interrupted the process. In the same way, healing thought requires a complete cycle to operate. The principle of the inner physician. Here is where I introduce the principle of the inner physician. This is not a spiritual metaphor, it is a concrete mental function. Every human being carries within a higher consciousness that knows the perfect idea of their body, character, and destiny. This consciousness, called by some the higher self, by others the inner Christ, by others infinite intelligence, acts as a perpetual physician, prescribing the correct ideas for every situation. But this physician can act only if you cooperate through disciplined repetition. The inner physician does not shout, it does not impose, it whispers, suggests, inspires. If you faithfully repeat the affirmations it prescribes, a powerful alliance is established between your will, your memory, and your word. This alliance is the vehicle through which cellular reprogramming descends. I call this the AMV formula. Affirmation, memory, will. The AMV formula. Affirmation, the order. It must be clear, positive, present, and personal. For example, I am organized intelligence. Every cell in my body cooperates with my well-being. Memory, the channel. It is repetition that ensures the affirmation is not lost, not an isolated event, but a continuous current flowing through your days, emotions, and moods. Repeating is remembering, and remembering is reinforcing. Will, perseverance. It is the decision to continue the mental treatment even when results are not immediately visible. It is the firmness to declare the good, even when appearances suggest otherwise. In this context, will is not brute force, it is sustained decision. These three forces, affirmation, memory, will, must act daily, as a doctor would who does not abandon a patient until full recovery is achieved. That patient is you, and that doctor is also you. A daily mental training structure. Here is a daily mental training routine that is not complicated, yet powerful when applied faithfully. Morning, 5 minutes. A loud affirmation of your life ideal. Example, today everything cooperates for my success. I am guided, I am protected, I am prospered. Brief visualization of your body illuminated and in order. Anticipatory gratitude for the day's achievements. During the day, key moments. Language intervention. Whenever you notice an internal complaint, doubt, or criticism, replace it mentally with a positive affirmation. Example, I can't handle this. I am capable of every challenge. Before sleep, 10 minutes. Slow repetition of 3 key affirmations. Visualization of the results already manifested. Prayer of surrender to the inner physician. Now that I sleep, my mind continues the treatment. Every cell is touched by healing intelligence. The power of discipline. Some will say this is too much effort. But I ask, do you not expend greater effort maintaining illness, lack, or fear? Indiscipline also requires energy, but produces no results. Discipline, on the other hand, reorganizes your entire being, from cell to circumstance. I knew a master who, after suffering facial paralysis, was declared hopeless by conventional medicine. He decided to become his own therapist. For 7 months, he repeated every hour, my nerves are healthy, my muscles respond, I am restored by divine order. Simultaneously, he visualized his face smiling, flexible, symmetrical. He used a mirror to reinforce the image and each night affirmed before sleep, the inner physician acts while I rest. By the 7th month, his face returned to normal, without drugs, without surgery, only through mental discipline. This is not an isolated case, it is law. Repeat the correct actions with constancy, and you will see them manifest. The cell responds to the stimulus that is sustained. The subconscious does not resist one who perseveres with faith. You are not called to live on intermittent treatments. You are called to be your own therapist, your own healer, your own architect. But that requires daily decision. Discipline is not punishment. It is medicine. It is the definitive cure for erratic thought, scattered emotion, and a disordered body. Begin today. Commit to 90 days of mental training. Do not ask for quick results. Ask for constancy, and constancy will give you results. In the next chapter, we will explore how to use specific affirmations that, when spoken with the correct structure, generate immediate cellular reconfiguration. You will see how every word is a healing agent and how your tongue can become a scalpel of balm. The choice is yours. Chapter 6. Affirmations that reconfigure cells. A correctly formulated affirmation repeated with faith is not merely a psychological tool or emotional comfort. It is a precise formula that acts as a vibratory command on the nervous system, the glandular system, and the cellular field. Every word, when spoken with conscious intention, generates a frequency. That frequency penetrates the invisible structures of the body, just as music penetrates silence, reorganizing the living units that form your physical reality. This is not poetry, it is mental science, law in operation. The verb is not an accessory of thought, it is its most direct vehicle. It is the way you transform the invisible into substance. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. John 1:14. This phrase does not describe only a mystical event. It describes a universal creative law. What you affirm with sufficient clarity, persistence, and conviction becomes flesh. That is, it becomes body, circumstance, matter. When you repeat an affirmation, you are sowing a vibratory model. If the repetition is constant, that model is imprinted in your subconscious, and the subconscious, as we have said, does not judge or compare. It obeys. Then the cellular field is compelled to replicate that pattern as structure. This explains why many people carry illnesses that are not biological, but verbal. They have affirmed phrases for years such as, everything makes me sick, I can't take it anymore, this overwhelms me. Those words, repeated with emotion, reconfigured their cells to obey that command. But the law works in both directions. Just as a negative affirmation degrades, a positive affirmation builds. And this is not about repeating nice or generic phrases. It is about using precise formulas, crafted according to mental laws that involve the present tense, personal affirmation, specific direction, and emotional charge. Proven affirmations by area. Here is a set of tested affirmations, organized by area with instructions for effective cellular reconfiguration. 1. Physical health. Affirmation. Every cell in my body obeys the divine law of order. I am healthy, strong, and in perfect harmony with life. Usage. Repeat upon waking at midday and before sleeping. Visualization. See your organs as pulsating lights harmonized, vibrating in peace. 2. Material prosperity. Affirmation. The flow of good circulates freely in my life. I am a constant channel of wealth, order, and perfect provision. Usage. Say at the start of each workday. Technique. Inhale while saying flow of good. Exhale while saying circulates freely in my life. Visualization. Imagine money flowing like a golden river. 3. Personal relationships. Affirmation. I attract elevated, stable, and peaceful relationships filled with love and truth. Usage. Repeat in front of a mirror twice daily. Visualization. Picture a harmonious, everyday interaction with another person without judgment or tension. 4. Life purpose and direction. Affirmation. I am on my perfect path. Every action is guided by inner intelligence that leads me to the achievement of my mission. Usage. Repeat at the start of the day before making key decisions. Extra. Write the affirmation 5 times with your dominant hand for 7 consecutive days. Each of these affirmations functions as a formula. Reading them is not enough. You must use them like a doctor uses a prescription, with schedule, commitment, and expectation of results. The cell requires constant exposure to reconfigure. An idea that appears and disappears does not have sufficient electromagnetic force to form structure. A sustained idea, especially during sleep, acts as a master program. Nighttime repetition method. Before sleeping, the subconscious is in a receptive state, more open than at any other time. Repeating affirmations at this moment allows them to enter without resistance. Steps. Lie down in silence, lights off. Place both hands over your chest. Repeat your chosen affirmation 10 times softly or mentally. Associate the phrase with a coherent mental image. Allow sleep to take over while repeating or visualizing. Applied for 21 consecutive days, this method generates a new cellular pattern. I have observed cases where chronic illness, persistent lack, and toxic habits yielded to the nightly repetition of specific affirmations. Example: a man diagnosed with irreversible liver disease repeated nightly, "My liver is new, my body regenerates in perfect order." After 6 weeks of strict practice, clinical tests showed improvement unexplained by medicine. This is not superstition, it is cellular re-education. The power of words. What you think in an organized way, you imprint. What you imprint, you manifest. That is why I insist, never speak what you do not wish to see become flesh. Every word emitted in a heightened emotional state is a command, a scalpel, a brush, a seed. If you affirm clumsiness, clumsiness will appear. If you affirm that everything goes wrong, your cells will find a way to sabotage you. But if you affirm with love and certainty that all cooperates for your good, that you are guided, worthy, and capable, then your body, environment, and opportunities will begin to organize around this new vibratory signal. In the next chapter, we will see how to expand this affirmative vibration to your environment, so that not only your cells reconfigure, but also your external conditions, opportunities, and the people who interact with you. Because the mind is not an isolated inner phenomenon, it is an antenna that constantly emits and receives, and you can learn to use it to create, attract, and expand the frequency of success. Chapter 7. Cellular Visualization, Images that Heal and Create. The image you hold in your mind is the seed that determines the form your cells will take. This is not a rhetorical figure. It is a literal law. Everything you see clearly in your mind, if maintained with sufficient emotion, repetition, and certainty, begins to organize your cellular structure according to that visual pattern. Each image you repeat becomes a blueprint, and that blueprint is meticulously obeyed by the internal forces that shape your body, character, behavior, and destiny. Therefore, visualization is not a relaxation exercise, nor a mental pastime. It is a creative act, a surgical operation without a scalpel, a direct language between your will and your biology. When you see in your mind a healthy body, radiant skin, straight spine, balanced finances, harmonious relationships, and do so with the clarity of looking at an object with your own eyes, that image becomes architecture. The cell receives the design, the subconscious accepts the command, and the body, in its proper time, manifests the visible form of that image. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. This biblical statement does not refer to vague thinking but to sustained imagery in the soul, that is, to the visual idea maintained with inner faith. What you contemplate internally is what you will see reflected externally, and if you contemplate it with sufficient frequency, it will imprint in your flesh, your expression, your gait, and your environment. The biological power of visualization. You must accept a fundamental truth. The cell is plastic, not fixed. It can change its structure, activity, and direction based on the information it receives. This information does not come only from nutrients or physical substances. It comes from electrical impulses carried by the nervous system, and those impulses are activated by mental imagery. A clear, repeated, emotionally intense visualization generates a prolonged electrical signal that reaches every cell as instruction. This is the biological root of mental miracles. But not all visualizations are effective. Many fail because they commit fundamental mistakes. They visualize vaguely without clarity or direction. They change the image daily, preventing the subconscious from constructing the pattern. They focus on lack instead of the realized result. They visualize with anxiety or tension, which interferes with the clear transmission of the message. They only see but do not feel the image as true. The solution is simple. Learn to construct precise, specific images aligned with your goal and sustain them with constancy, emotion, and certainty. Exercise, cellular visualization and the triumphant body. Duration, 10 minutes daily. Sit comfortably with your spine straight, eyes closed. Take 3 deep breaths. Visualize your body from above as if you were observing it from the ceiling. Notice your head, shoulders, hands, and feet. Do not criticize, just observe. Now imagine an ideal version of yourself, strong, confident, healthy, serene, energetic. Your skin glows, your back is straight, your eyes reflect clarity, your breathing is deep and calm. Associate that image with an intense emotional sensation, healthy pride, gratitude, joy for your achievement. Repeat mentally, "This is me. This is how the infinite intelligence sees me. This image lives in my cells." Visualize millions of cells in your body observing that image and beginning to copy it. See them reorganizing, releasing toxins, rejuvenating tissues, obeying the new pattern. Finish with a declarative integration statement. This image is imprinted in every cell. I act, think, and speak from this triumphant identity. Practice every day for at least 21 consecutive days. Do not let mental laziness interrupt your inner laboratory. Each time you repeat the image, you reinforce the blueprint, deepen the signal, and generate a mental architecture that your body will obey. The inner mirror technique. Another powerful resource is the inner mirror. This is a method of personal contemplation. Imagine your internal image as if reflected in a divine mirror. Close your eyes and ask, how does Supreme Intelligence see me? Not from judgment, but from the ideal. You will then see a version of yourself in fullness, not from vanity, but divine design. That is the image you must install. Example, a woman struggling with emotional obesity practiced this technique. For 90 days, she visualized each night her slim, harmonious figure walking with confidence. She did not weigh herself or criticize. She simply repeated the image with joy. Her body gradually transformed, not because the image is magical, but because the image directs energy, and energy directs matter. The cell does not judge, it does not know if an image is real or imagined. It only responds to the vibration it receives. If that vibration is clear, repeated, and emotional, the cell takes it as an order and acts. Reflection. Ask yourself, what image of yourself are you maintaining each day, consciously or unconsciously? Because that image is what you are building. You cannot manifest an identity you have not installed, and you cannot install it without disciplined visualization. In the next chapter, we will explore how to sustain this new visual identity within a structured 90-day program, because the cell needs time and you need method. With this method, everything you imagine in harmony with the good becomes flesh, destiny, and reality. Chapter 8. The Invisible Enemies of Achievement. No one fails due to lack of talent. No one stagnates because they lack opportunities. No one falls because destiny wills it. The true enemies of achievement are not external, they are internal. And what is even more revealing, though it may seem unsettling to those who have not yet delved into the laws of the mind, is that these enemies are not intruders nor external demons. They are mental constructions residing in the subconscious, camouflaged, hidden, but active. These forces, which I will call mental viruses, have one thing in common. They prevent the energy of good from flowing without interference. They act as filters that distort the signal of your purpose, operating from darkness, from unconsciousness, from forgetfulness. Thus a man may have all the ability, all the desire, and all the preparation, yet sabotage himself just before achieving success. Why? Because one of these invisible forces is active, blocking the channel of manifestation. The most frequent and dangerous of these viruses are 5: fear, doubt, resentment, laziness, and dispersion. Each operates differently, but all share a common root. They are dissonant frequencies that prevent cellular obedience to the higher command of success. 1. Fear, the great paralyzer. Fear is a negative image maintained in the subconscious that anticipates harm and makes it probable. It has no reality of its own. It is a shadow projected by distorted thought. Fear cannot exist where there is certainty of good. But if you doubt life's order, if you believe you can be a victim of chance or judgment, fear installs itself as false protection. It paralyzes action, shortens breath, weakens the immune system, and sends confusing signals to your cells. When fear dominates, the body stops building and enters emergency mode. The only cure for fear is the light of knowledge. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. 2 Timothy 1:7. Repeat this whenever you feel fear and add, "Nothing external can harm me. I am governed by divine intelligence." 2. Doubt, the silent saboteur. Doubt is the oscillation between two mental directions. It is the hesitation that interrupts the transmission of desire to the body. Those who doubt do not send a clear signal to their cells, which is why nothing manifests. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1:8. Doubt is not lack of intelligence. It is excess rational judgment not aligned with inner faith. It is cured with decision. I have chosen to trust. My decision is firm. Nothing external will make me waver. 3. Resentment, the poison of the soul. No thought poisons the body more than resentment. It is an emotional fixation on a past grievance, stagnant energy producing psychic toxins that affect the liver, skin, and circulation. Those who hold grudges block their prosperity because they remain vibrationally tied to a negative event. The cure is not forced forgiveness, but conscious release. I release and free myself. I choose peace. No one has power over my joy. 4. Laziness, the abandonment of the mind. Laziness is not simply lack of movement. It is lack of mental direction. It is a disconnection between purpose and action, originating in resignation. Why try? Every time you yield to inertia, you are telling yourselves it is not worth growing, advancing, or improving, and they obey. The cure is activation of your sense of mission. I was created to advance. My energy is divine. I move with joy toward my ideal. 5. Dispersion, the enemy of focus. Nothing sabotages an affirmation more than a mind divided among 1,000 stimuli. Dispersion is the mental noise that prevents a sustained image. Without a maintained image, there is no cellular reconfiguration. This enemy is fueled by external hyperactivity and lack of meditative practice. The cure is directed attention. Pause, breathe, repeat. I am present. I am centered. Everything non-essential fades away. Purification techniques. Mental fire technique. Imagine your mind as a sacred altar. In the center, visualize a white, bright, purifying fire, the spiritual intelligence. Place into this fire, one by one, the images of your fears, doubts, anger, laziness, and distractions. Visualize the fire consuming them effortlessly. Feel the liberating heat. Then declare, I have burned what does not belong to my good. I am clean, I am renewed, I am free. Inner cleansing prayer. Divine power in me, bring to my consciousness every idea, emotion, or memory that prevents my progress. Let all that is hidden be revealed, and all that is toxic be transformed. I accept purification. I accept truth. I am a clean vessel of success, health, and joy. So be it. Mental fast exercise. For one full day, avoid all complaints, criticism, or words of doubt or fear. Do not speak about problems or analyze mistakes. Do not repeat stories of injustice. This mental fast detoxifies the mind. If you break the practice, start over. Practiced for 7 days, it begins to create an internal field of order arising from a liberated soul. The invisible enemies do not vanish by wishing. They dissolve through exposure. By bringing them to consciousness, observing them without fear, and replacing them with affirmations of power, you remove their strength. You do not need to fight them. You only need to see them, understand them, and speak to them from your inner authority. In the next chapter, we will explore how to establish a structured 90-day program to consolidate all these learnings, turning them into a new life system where each cell cooperates with your success, each thought builds your destiny, and each word is medicine. Because reprogramming is not a momentary inspiration, it is a deliberate path to inner victory. Chapter 9, the 90-day plan. Every true transformation requires structure. No change is sustainable without a deliberate methodology, just as no body can stand without a skeleton. The desire to improve, however sincere, does not produce results on its own. It is necessary to establish rhythm, discipline, and conscious commitment to the law of creative habit. For this, I have designed a rigorous, progressive plan that works on 2 levels simultaneously, the subconscious mind and the cellular structure. This plan is not symbolic or figurative. It is based on a biological truth confirmed by science. The human body regenerates millions of cells daily, and each full cycle of regeneration, according to physiological studies, takes approximately 90 days. This means that within 3 months, you can replace a defeated identity with a triumphant one. You can move from confusion to purpose, from chronic failure to consistent success, from inner weakness to the iron structure of a renewed character. But this is only possible if you follow the complete program without interruptions. This chapter will serve as a practical guide. It is not an anecdotal addition. It is the operational core of the entire work. If you practice what is contained here, you will need nothing else, because what transforms is not the amount of knowledge, but the persistent application of a simple truth. Why 90 days? Medical science has shown that tissues such as the skin, blood, and digestive system have renewal cycles ranging from 21 to 90 days. More deeply, the mental patterns installed in the cellular subconscious require a complete cycle to be replaced without the system relapsing into previous programming. The most common mistake is interrupting the process before consolidation. Many start affirmations, visualizations, or exercises enthusiastically, but then retreat. The mental virus is not eradicated, it is only temporarily suppressed. 90 days allow not only change, but its crystallization. The 3 phases of the program. Phase 1, installation, days 1-21. Objective: identify and neutralize negative mental patterns. Tools: cleaning affirmations. I cancel all ideas contrary to my good. Mental fasting: no complaints, no judgments, no victim language. Purifying fire visualization: 5 minutes upon waking. Language log: record negative phrases and replace them. Phase 2, reprogramming, days 22-60. Objective: install the new mental and cellular identity. Tools: specific affirmations per area. Health, finances, relationships, mission. Visualization of the triumphant body and scenes of completed success. Inner mirror practice twice a week. Daily reading of 1 page of spiritual truth before sleep. Willpower exercise. Daily consciously chosen uncomfortable action. Phase 3, integration, days 61-90. Objective: convert practice into a permanent state. Tools: mother affirmation. My success is permanent, everything cooperates for my good. Daily written scientific prayer for 21 consecutive days. Planning a new project, applying mental law. Observing visible results, recording physical, emotional, and external changes. Daily schedule standard model. Morning, 5 minutes upon waking. Repeat the day's affirmation. Visualize the scene of success already accomplished. Declare, today is a day of growth. Everything cooperates with me. During the day key moments, listen consciously to your own language. Correct negative phrases in the moment. Pause for conscious breathing before each decision. Evening, 10 minutes before sleep. Repeat the day's affirmations with emotion. Verbally thank the inner physician for progress. Visualize your body as organized and active light. Weekly schedule. Sunday, progress review. Write a free evaluation page. What have I changed? What has improved? What should I reinforce? Wednesday, 5 minutes of inner silence before any important activity. Reinforce internal image. Friday, Read aloud the week's most powerful affirmation, for example. I am guided by infinite intelligence. Success flows through me. Monthly schedule. Day 30. Evaluate results in 4 areas: physical state, emotional state, relationship with environment, objective achievements. Day 60. Identity review. Who am I now? What no longer belongs to me? Write in present affirmative tense. Day 90. Personal integration ceremony. Write a letter to your old self, thanking and releasing it, or read your favorite chapter of this book, or make a verbal declaration. I have completed my reprogramming. I am installed in my new pattern of success. Examples of 90-day transformations. Carlos, 42, merchant. After 15 years of financial ups and downs, applied daily plan with specific affirmations. My ideas prosper. I am a constant channel of wealth. By day 67, he doubled his income and reorganized debt without external loans. Mariela, 35, therapist, overcame chronic self-rejection by visualizing her triumphant self each night. By day 52, she received invitations to conferences, recognition from colleagues, and her psoriasis showed significant remission. Jose, 29, employee, suffered insomnia and mental dispersion. Practiced scientific prayer before sleep. My mind rests in God's peace. My cells yield to order. By day 14, he slept deeply. By day 90, he experienced constant clarity and received an unexpected promotion. This plan has no contraindications. It requires only 3 things: firm decision, daily consistency, willingness to obey the law, do not modify it. Do not adapt it according to your emotional state. Apply it like a precise treatment, with respect, joy, and awareness that you are operating on the very core of your being. In the next chapter, you will learn how to consolidate this new identity in your environment, family, work, finances, and mission, because reprogramming the body and mind alone is not enough. The external world must also reflect your new frequency, and this too follows a law. Chapter 10. The body as a field of success. The body is not an inert machine nor an accidental vessel of the soul. It is an organized field of mental energy, the visible expression of an invisible intelligence. Every cell, every organ, every system responds to an idea, an image, or an emotion that has been sustained in the mind. Therefore, I affirm with full authority, success does not begin outside of you, not even in your mind as something abstract. It begins in your body as concrete vibration, as a living structure obedient to the law of thought. There is no genuine success that does not involve bodily transformation, not because the body itself is a source of power, but because it is the stage where the order of the spirit manifests. The body reveals what you truly believe about yourself. If your spine is hunched, your ideas about the world may be weighed down by fear. If your breathing is shallow, you may feel unworthy of taking life fully. If your skin reacts with irritation, your thoughts may be full of judgment or constant defense. Every part of the body is a living symbol of a sustained mental idea. Once you understand this, the body ceases to be a problem to fix or merely an instrument to care for. It becomes a field of spiritual training, a living board where you can observe, in real time, the consequences of your thoughts and emotions. Just as a gardener observes the state of plants to understand the soil, you can observe your body to discover which mental seeds are active in your subconscious. Principle: every body part represents a mental function. Head, center of identity and direction. Chronic pain often indicates confusion of purpose or excessive self-criticism. Skin, psychic boundary. Allergies or inflammation can reflect fear of contact, a need for defense, or mental irritation. Lungs, capacity to receive life. Breathing difficulties often relate to beliefs of unworthiness or chronic anxiety. Stomach, processing experiences. Digestive problems often reflect difficulty digesting emotional situations. Spine, inner support structure. Slouched posture or chronic pain reflects lack of self-affirmation or feeling of excessive burden. Hands, faculty of giving and receiving. Coldness, tremors, or weakness may reveal fear of acting or guilt for receiving. These are not poetic symbols, but psychocellular realities. Cells interpret the emotional and mental content they receive and act accordingly. Thus, no illness exists without a mental root, and no complete healing occurs without re-education of thought. 3 fundamental practices. 1. Conscious body scan. Mentally scan each part of your body upon waking and before sleeping. Goal: recognize the intelligence within each cell, not to find faults. Method: close your eyes, start from the feet, and ascend slowly. Mentally say, "Thank you for your service, I bless you. You belong to my success. If you feel tension, I give you permission to relax. Divine order guides you." This daily scan reorganizes your electromagnetic field, harmonizes your nervous system, and strengthens the relationship with your body as a manifestation of spirit. 2. Organ-specific affirmations. Each organ has a function and requires an affirmation to reinforce its original purpose. Brain: my mind is clear, luminous, and organized. Every thought cooperates with my success. Heart: I love and I am loved. Life flows through me with perfect rhythm. Lungs: I breathe deeply, life enters and exits me with confidence. Stomach: I assimilate life with serenity. Everything I need nourishes me. Liver: I release the past, I choose peace, my body filters only what is useful. Skin: I am safe, I am at peace, my contact with the world is gentle and free. Method: say each affirmation with eyes closed, hand on the corresponding area, and deep breathing. Repeat 3 times while visualizing white light in that zone. 3. Physiological gratitude exercises. Gratitude emits a high vibration that reorganizes cellular structure. At the end of the day, write 5 specific gratitudes for body parts. Thank you, eyes, for showing me the world clearly. Thank you, legs, for supporting me every step. Thank you, skin, for protecting me intelligently. Repeating this for 30 days transforms your relationship with your body, turning it into a temple of success and a channel for higher law. Key principle: do not attempt to change your body through criticism or struggle. Transform it through recognition, affirmation, and clear direction. Cells have no judgment. They obey the frequency you emit. If you see them as enemies, they contract. If you see them as instruments of victory, they align with that idea. In the next chapter, you will learn how to use your environment, people, objects, and physical space as extensions of your mental field, because success must expand from your cells to your home, work, relationships, and entire atmosphere, and this too is law. Chapter 11. Success as a divine law. Many, when they look at life with distracted eyes or bruised by repeated failure, come to believe that success is a matter of luck, inherited privilege, or divine favoritism. Yet this belief does not withstand careful observation or faithful application of mental laws. Success is not an accident. It is not a random reward. It is a spiritual law as precise as the law of gravity or the law of electromagnetism. And like all laws, it operates when the proper conditions are met. There is no mystery in its operation. There is only ignorance in its application. Since ancient times, great sages and prophets have stated this clearly, even though the veil of religious language has sometimes obscured rational understanding. When the psalmist declares, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," Psalm 23:1, he is not making a poetic or sentimental statement. He is establishing a formula of mental law. The awareness of unity with a higher intelligence produces total provision. Where there is certainty of internal guidance, there can be no loss, no scarcity, no deviation. But if you repeat this verse without conviction, without understanding the law behind it, without living from the idea that a divine intelligence guides every step of your path, it will not operate. Because it is not the word itself that has power, but the idea it embodies and the emotion it awakens. The law does not respond to empty words, but to sustained vibration. Success is the manifestation of inner order. We must understand that success, in its highest expression, is not merely achieving external results, money, recognition, completed goals, but the inevitable fruit of a mind aligned with the law of good. Success is the external manifestation of inner order. Where there is mental order, clear vision, active faith, and persistent action, success appears because it cannot not appear. This principle is timeless. It was understood by prophets, patriarchs, and spiritual masters of all eras. When Moses led his people out of slavery, it was not by physical force, but by obedience to internal guidance. When Joseph, sold by his brothers, came to govern Egypt, it was not by chance, but by maintaining a consciousness of divine purpose amid adversity. Each of these biblical examples is a lesson in mental law. Thought aligned with divine law triumphs over all external conditions. Success through daily alignment. Consider the declaration, "Whatever I do prospers." Psalm 13. This is not an exaggeration nor a conditional promise from heaven. It is a description of what occurs when a person meditates day and night on the law of good, maintaining images of truth in the mind, affirmations of victory, thoughts of love and purpose. Prosperity is not the effect of religious meditation, but the fruit of mental constancy in a higher idea. I've accompanied men and women of all backgrounds who, upon beginning to act from this law, saw everything in their lives, health, finances, relationships, projects, begin to align, not by magic, but by vibrational correspondence. For example, a merchant who had lived in constant financial failure for years began declaring each day, "My mind is aligned with divine order. Everything I do prospers." He did not change his product, location, or strategy, but he changed his consciousness. In 6 weeks, his business began receiving unexpected orders. It was not a miracle, it was law. Practice alignment prayer for success. The mind aligned with the law of good cannot fail. It may encounter obstacles, undergo adjustments, or experience delays. But failure is impossible. Failure is not an objective condition. It is a subjective interpretation based on separation from source. To enter alignment, practice this prayer of alignment with the law of success. I recognize here and now that success is not external to me. It is my spiritual right, my original design, my divine inheritance. I declare that supreme intelligence guides me in every step. Every thought of mine cooperates with good. Every word I speak sows success. Every action I take reflects order and power. I am aligned with the law of achievement and cannot fail, because divine order is the only authority in my life. Thank you, Father, for it is already done. Repeat this prayer every morning for 30 days. Write it if you can, read it aloud, feel it as true. By doing so, you are constructing a new mental axis, which will begin to organize your entire field of manifestation. Key takeaway: success does not depend on your history, age, resources, or environment. It depends on conscious alignment with the law of good, and that alignment is available at every moment. In the next chapter, we will conclude this work by exploring how to expand this state of success to others, because all true success becomes a source of collective good, and sharing that source is not only the fruit of success, but its greatest guarantee of permanence. Chapter 12. Perpetual Multiplication. How to maintain success. The greatest mistake those who achieve a certain level of success make is to think they have reached a final point, a peak from which all that remains is to hold on. But genuine success, the kind that arises from spiritual law and expresses itself through a disciplined mind, is not a peak, but a stream. It is not a goal, but a flow. It is not a single event, but a state of consciousness that reproduces itself indefinitely, just as a tree produces fruit every season, because its roots are firm, its sap flows continuously, and its inner life has not stopped. When a person begins to harvest the fruits of mental and cellular reprogramming, better health, harmonious relationships, organized finances, professional recognition, they must firmly resist the thought that this harvest is the end of the process. Mental law does not operate by static accumulation, but by perpetual multiplication. That is, what you achieve in harmony with the law becomes the seed for an even greater manifestation. Authentic success, then, needs no defense, requires no protection, and does not live in fear of regression, because it is not based on external conditions, but on the internal source that produces it. If you make your mind a perpetual generator of triumphs, all that you need will be added without forced effort. And this is not spiritual poetry, it is mental mathematics. Correct thought generates correct emotion generates correct action maintained produces results. And those results, observed with gratitude and humility, feed thought anew. Thus the cycle of multiplication is complete. 4 key principles to sustain perpetual success. 1. The principle of continuous renewal. No mental image should become an idol. The success you celebrate today is merely the external form of a seed that can still flourish further. Do not cling to the form. Keep your mind open to greater good. Each day brings new energy, new light, new opportunity to grow. Exercise. Every Sunday, spend 10 minutes visualizing the expansion of your current success. If you have health, imagine even higher vitality. If you have prosperity, Envision new streams of income. If you have love, imagine greater depth. This keeps your mind fertile and free from stagnation. 2. The discipline of maintenance. Just as a gardener does not stop watering plants because they have already bloomed, you must not abandon the practices that brought you success. The mind requires constant guidance. The cell requires sustained stimulus. The subconscious responds to repetition. Even after achieving your goals, continue your daily program of affirmations, visualizations, and inner silence. Do it not out of necessity, but from identity. You are no longer someone seeking success. You are someone who produces success. That is your new nature. Suggested maintenance method, morning affirmation. Today I continue expanding the good in my life. My success is constant and multiplying. Weekly visualization, picture your future achieving even more in peace. Monthly evaluation. Identify 3 areas where you have grown and 3 new areas to expand. 3. The principle of open flow. All retained energy stagnates. All good that is not shared dries up. One of the most powerful secrets of perpetual success is the law of conscious giving. Share your knowledge, resources, experience, time, and light, not out of charity, but as a law of circulation. When you give from abundance, you affirm that you have more than enough, and life confirms it through sincere vibration. Exercise. Each month find a concrete way to give. Mentor someone, contribute to a cause, bless someone who wronged you, not out of obligation, but as a natural extension of your new state. 4. The technique of effortless expansion. Effort is useful in the sowing stage, but once your mind is aligned with the law, growth becomes natural. Like a tree that does not strain to bear fruit, you do not force more success. Simply maintain mental direction. This is the technique of effortless expansion. Keep your attention on the good. Keep your emotion in gratitude. Keep your action in coherence. Allow the law to do the rest. This does not mean passivity, but active trust. The one who trusts the law works with joy, without anxiety, without urgency, without comparison. Prayer for continuous success. I give thanks for all the good that has manifested in my life. I recognize that this success is not mine, but of the divine order flowing through me. I now accept the perpetual multiplication of good. My mind is a channel of higher ideas. My heart is a source of constant joy. My body is a perfect instrument of realization. My life is an expression of effortless success. Nothing external can alter this flow because I am grounded in the law. Thank you, God, in me, for it is already done. As you close this chapter in this book, understand this. You have not read a manual. You have activated a seed. You have not learned techniques. You have remembered your power. You have not followed instructions. You have discovered eternal laws awaiting your attention. Now you know your mind is the helm. Your cells are obedient workers, and your environment is a mirror. Your success, when faithful to the law, knows no retreat because its source never fails. You have received the formula, understood it, applied it. Now multiply it. Amen.